Hello, guys. Welcome to She Scores, where we talk all things women's soccer. We look at the numbers, either from games or on the business numbers. And I am super excited for tonight's episode because we are looking at the Euros because there are not a lot of games on, and especially with the European soccer, they are in their off season, and the NWSL is on a break. So we're going to look at the Euros and all that stuff. So I am excited for this one. Yeah. So many of you, if you don't know, the Euros is the European competition, and if I'm not mistaken, it is where those teams work to qualify for the next World Cup. So we have the CONCACAF tournament out here, which I think starts next year for us. So that will be exciting. But so we are going to look at here a few things with the Euros. First, we're going to look at some soccer news. So I'm going to put that on you guys here. Okay. So this here is from the Equalizer. And actually, some of these have a lot to do with the Euros. So for starters, Euros, Italy earns comeback win over Norway. It says Euro 2025 quarterfinals preview. England, Spain hosts face-off in Switzerland this week. Obviously, that game I know has just happened while recording this. I know England moved on in penalties over Sweden, and Spain won over Switzerland 2-0. And then obviously we saw U.S. women's national team star and WSL champion Tobin Heath announce his retirement after being trying to work back from I think it was a knee injury, but inevitably wasn't able to, get into that. Euro 2025. Switzerland earns emotional and important first win of home Euros because that is where the Euros are being held. And then, actually, this is kind of what I want to look at here. How Sam Coffey steers the U.S. women's national team midfield. But I actually do really like watching her game. After, especially for one, being told with Vlatko Andonovski, being told she wasn't going to be part of their plan. And how now she's more in the plan and has shown that she's ready for that spot, all that stuff. With precise passing, smart positioning, and pressure-resistant play, Coffey has become the heartbeat of Emma Hayes' evolving midfield structure. Since her arrival in 2022, Coffey has become a midfield mainstay on the United Women's States national team. She anchors the team in a quarterback role, which in that terms is the defense midfielder, and her performance has grown in stature over the past few international winters, making every roster despite Emma Hayes' ongoing experimentation with the squad. So how has Coffey embedded herself so firmly in the midfield? Why does Emma Hayes rate her so highly? The role Coffey has taken up for the U.S. women's national team over the past year isn't too dissimilar to her natural playing style. Portland Thorns midfielder has been an all-around player capable of performing both offensive defensive midfield duties without a drop in performance levels. And sometimes, as this doesn't show me this whole thing, which is vaguely annoying, so I'm going to stop sharing. Anyway, so as my thing is not wanting to show me my camera, there we go. So I think a lot of that also has to do with a player's ability to communicate their needs as well. on field, off the field type stuff, and also keeping themselves in the peak performance, and how, knowing the plan of, okay, this is how I want to play, and keep, kind of, here's the plan to keep it that way. So, yeah. All right. Trying to get, I don't know why my laptop does not want to work, guys. There we go. It's being a little slow today. I am sorry. So, we are going to look at here. What was I hitting? Oh, okay, that was why. So, anyway, we're going to show the next tab. So, we're going to look at the revenue for the Euros. Now, this is not an American currency, and I'm going to be honest. I don't remember. I need to check one thing first. I will be right back. Okay, honestly couldn't remember what the currency was called. So yeah, it shows it in pounds. So yeah, we're gonna kind of, I guess, do that in do some number crunching there, because probably just Google what that number is. So we're gonna share the screen here. So we're gonna look at the last Euros, which was in 2022, which I also had to do a little research because I was like, why can't I remember when the last Euros were? So right here. So yeah, the 2022 Euros generated £63.2 million in gross revenue, according to Sports Business, which was a significant increase compared to the £12.7 million generated by the previous tournament in 2017. Obviously, which is, I think, honestly shows the growth. Despite the commercial success, the tournament was ultimately loss-making for the UEFA. The tournament also saw a record cumulative live viewing audience of over 365 million, more than double the 2017 event. So, yeah, so gross revenue, I need to learn to put my phone over here in my hand. Now, we're going to look at the percentage that made. Why is that on there? That's about what, like a 50% jump, if I'm doing that math right. I was bright as hell on my phone. So yeah, that's a pretty big jump from the 2017. I think a lot of that has to do with the, I think the growth of women's soccer. Obviously, around this time, especially too, we saw, a pretty big, I want to say pretty drastic jump. I want to say, especially like after maybe like the 2019 Women's World Cup, because yes, I think after the 2015 Women's World Cup, I think we did see like another big jump, which I think we continue to see this big jump in the, structure, just because, people are like, okay, they're starting to look and see, okay, this is actually pretty interesting. So I think that's pretty exciting. We'll see the next big jump after, I think, the 2027 Women's World Cup. I like to do that math backwards. Because even after the last World Cup, we did see a big jump, especially after Spain won. And, the fight that they had to get to get, like, better playing, not even playing time, but, better support from their federation, because they said, hey, we won the World Cup. So, I mean, I'm kind of excited to see the jump in the 2027 Women's World Cup, to see kind of what that's going to bring, and this, all the stuff that's going to bring. But let's look at the revenue from, at least, I know this Euro isn't over yet, but let's see what they're projected to make and all that. To kind of end off. Okay. Nope, that's not the one I wanted. There we go. That is the tab I want. So yeah, it's projected to generate record-breaking revenue due to increased media rights, commercial sponsors, and ticket sales, driven by the expanding fan base and growing popularity of women's football. While UEFA will still subsidize the tournament, the significant revenue boosts to just a major step forward for the women's game, which actually I think is pretty on brand. Especially again with Spain playing in it too. I think it's gonna, again, after the tournament, we're gonna see, whatever team wins it, there's gonna be another jump in what we call the headlines, right? Of like, whether they're like good or bad, to kind of see. It's gonna be kind of exciting to see, especially the women's game that's growing in Europe, with the WSL, all that stuff. So I think that'll be pretty exciting to see. We're going to finish off here by looking at the standings for the Euros and the groups and all that. So we have the Group A: Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Iceland. Obviously, Norway and Switzerland. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Switzerland. I said Sweden. Switzerland. I read that wrong. Moved on. I forget who knocked out Norway. But anyway, then you have Spain and Italy who moved on. Then you had Belgium and Portugal. Sweden and Germany that moved on. You had Poland and Denmark as well. Group D, France and England moved on. The Netherlands, I think, was a bit of a shocker. Wales, I think, was a pretty good team. Obviously, I think that was a pretty tough group as it was. So, yeah. Trying to think. But yeah, I think honestly, I know Norway and Switzerland are out. I'm not sure about Italy. I know Spain's still in it. Sweden's out. I believe Germany's still in. I want to say France is still in. I know England's still in. I could be wrong. But yeah. And then we'll stop sharing the screen. Anyway, guys, I do hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Some of the changes coming for She Scores. I will be posting these every Tuesday. So you'll see us every Tuesday. But if you want to check out some other cool episodes, we also have Reinvented, She Baller, and Game Changers. Obviously, Reinvented is just kind of a spiritual, mental health-based podcast. She Baller is one of the newish ones we have, which talks all things women's basketball. So if you love women's soccer and you love women's basketball, check us out there. And then Game Changers is also a new one where we're talking all things, from people who are inside the sports industry and who are talking about, the changes of the sports and how, kind of how they've changed it and all their business side of things, all that. So I do hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next week with a brand new episode. Peace.